Hello, and welcome to the B-Side for September 17th, 2019. For those of you that are unfamiliar with the B-Side or what a record is, go ask your parents. But for my purposes, again, my name is David from 7poundbag.com. What I'm going to be doing with the B-Side is going to be doing more of a video essay, such as our topic for today, which is basically Hero versus Hero. The A-Side, which will be coming out to you on Fridays, is going to be more of a topical discussion. NFL, MMA, news of the week, Drew Brees' hand, etc. and so forth. It's going to be stuff that's not really relevant 6 months from now. Hopefully, discussions on Tuesdays, our B-Side that we're looking at, will be more timeless, will be more discussion-type topics. If you have thoughts on what I'm saying, by all means leave me a comment or drop me an email. Hit me up on Twitter, whatever you'd like to do, all that fun little social media stuff. Suggestions for future topics, by all means, let me know. But that is kind of what we're after. But again, thank you for joining us. By all means, hit our website. If you're seeing this on YouTube, by all means, drop us a comment here as well. Again, hopefully the B-Side will be the part that's going to be put on podcasts, Apple podcast hosters and things like that going forward. But again, thank you for our first taking a look at our first episode. Any and all comments are welcome. I do appreciate it. Now, in addition to writing on the website, and also a few other things that I kind of dabble with, a lot of what I write recently has been on Quora. For those of you who aren't familiar with Quora, it's kind of like a grown-up version of the old Yahoo Answers book. But I tend to get a lot of suggestions over who would win between this hero versus this villain, you know, who could win between 1,000 Persians and 1,000 unarmed Delta Force guys, etc. and so forth. Who's better, Batman, Superman? Who's faster, Flash, Quicksilver? Things like that. And I always have to throw two caveats at everything. The first being, I don't really read comics anymore. I've kind of, to tell you the truth, when I started having kids of my own, I just kind of got aged out of it, I guess you could say. Certain things just, I wasn't too enthused with it, so to speak. Maybe I'll come back to that, talk about that the other day. The other thing, which is what I want to talk about today, is which version of the hero you're talking about. What hero are we discussing? Because throughout comics, the hero has changed. And I don't mean like personality. Peter Parker's pretty much always been Peter Parker. But I mean their power sets changed. For example, one hero fight that I made a comment on that has kind of created a bit of, I guess, a flood of comments on that as well, was Spiderman versus Iron Man. Who could win? Well, which Spider-Man, which Iron Man are you talking about? Because, again, I pretty much, the entire first 300 issues of Iron Man, maybe 350, I guess you could say, if you really wanted to go with scattered issues, I knew everything Iron Man. I had most of the issues from like 70 through 350, so to speak. Rough guesstimate when I kind of dropped out. And all those armors I knew, all the Avengers comics I had, all of his crossovers I had, you know, so you're looking at a good 15, 20 year stretch where there wasn't anything Iron Man I didn't have. So which Iron Man suit are we talking about? Are we talking about the gray Vietnam? Are we talking about the original gold? Are we talking about the crimson one? Are we talking the one in the 70s with the roller skates? Are we talking about the one that came out in issue 200, which is still my personal favorite, which is the crimson one with the triangle in the middle? Are we talking his stealth armor, his Hulkbuster armor? You know, he's got literally hundreds of suits. And we're not even talking about the one-off suits like the stealth one, the deep space, the underwater from 217. Which armor are we talking about? Because Iron Man's powers change. It's very easy for him to change his power set, because all he's got to do is create a new armor. Hey, I want roller skates in this. Okay, I'll build roller skates. Hey, I want a surfboard in this one. Okay, I'll make an extended surfboard on this one. I want to be able to go in deep space on this one. Okay, I'll redesign my armor suit for that. His power set changes as the writer wants to change his armor. It's not that hard. But not only do you have that to contend with, you've also got Spider-Man. Spider-Man's changed a good bit. For example, and what I used in my original answer is I did the original Spider-Man. Spider-Man carried at one time, according to the original Marvel handbook, he could lift press 3 tons. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's good for a car. It's good for a bus. If you look at what a lot of he does in the movies, he's about that power set. And then it kind of got bumped where he could do 12 tons. And then he could do 20. And now I think he can do 40 according to the last thing. But that, again, it fluctuates according to the writer. It's not like Iron Man. Tony Stark goes into his lab. He creates him a new armor set. And his strength goes up. His power set goes up. His, capacitors, which they always loved talking about in the old early 70s books. Late 70s comic books, his capacitors can now do more stuff. His transistors are now more powerful or more efficient. Spider-Man, basically, how does he go from 3 to 12? Well, a writer decided he went from 3 to 12. It's not like he could sit there and concentrate and make his muscles bigger or inject more spider serum into his blood. Now, of course, the funny thing about that is y'all also had early issues of The Amazing Spider-Man where he would be picking up a tank or he would be pushing a tank back or something like that, which is always kind of funny because according to the handbook he can do 3 tons, but yet he's lifting a tank. The tank that he's picking up, U.S. Army main battle tank back in the 60s, is the M60, which is 50 tons. Which I do know adrenaline, the whole mama picks the car up off her taller and things like that's pretty impressive. But when you're saying, okay, this guy could pick up 3 tons and now he's picking up 50, and this, okay, we kind of got to look at your power set here. Spider-Man throughout the ages has also gotten smarter. His webbing's also changed somewhat. Me personally, and I may do another video essay on this down the road, it is on the docket, mechanical versus biological spider webs. I have strong opinions on that. And his agility's gotten different. His spider sense has gotten different. In some ways, it's even been toned down in some recent comic books that I did read to kind of look at some of this stuff because you can kind of find all that online if your computer doesn't completely bog down after 2 issues on certain websites, which is annoying. Plus, I was also given a Marvel digital subscription for my birthday one day, so I was caught up on some of this stuff, and I was like, nah, we'd leave this in the past. But by the same token, you have to look at whenever you're saying who wins, Iron Man versus Spider-Man. Okay, first off, which hero are we talking about? Are we talking about classic 80s Iron Man? Are we talking about current Iron Man? Are we talking about bleeding edge Iron Man? Are we talking, classic late 80s Iron Man, where he's still in the crimson and yellow, crimson and gold, with the roller skates, which again I still love that armor. My favorite's still the red with the triangle. Which Spider-Man are we talking about? Are we talking about current, where he can do 40 tons? There's even some people that commented on my answer that said, no, he does, he's up to 60 tons now. Good gravy. Because that changes the answer somewhat. But the problem is, when you're looking at Iron Man versus Spider-Man, and you're looking at, like, say, normal Iron Man versus normal Spider-Man, you're still looking at range comes to it. You're still looking at arena that comes to it. Are we putting these 2 guys in the middle of the Rose Bowl, each of them in their own end zone, and says, okay, we've got an impenetrable adamantium wall surrounding the Rose Bowl. You can't go out of this. And you've only got what you normally carry in, which people that love Batman, it's a whole prep thing, which is annoying as full. I got a secret for you people. If Superman 100% has to kill Batman and doesn't care, Batman loses every time. I don't care. Okay? If I can go into space and shoot laser beams at the Earth pretty much 24/7, I don't care how much prep time you are, I'm going to melt you eventually. I may melt the eastern seaboard, but I'm going to melt it eventually. Because if I can make a chair on the moon and just sit there and just look at the Earth and burn it, you're going to lose. I don't care about your prep time. Okay, Batman vs. Superman wrap over. Because that's just annoying as full. But, again, when you're looking at Iron Man versus Spider-Man, it all comes down to range. It comes down to tactics. It comes down to intelligence. And part of the reason why I can't deal with comics anymore, because they just jacked intelligence all up. But people that look at Spider-Man and say, oh yeah, he should be able to lift 40 tons, just forget what Spider-Man is all about. He is the classic wimpy kid, gets superpowers, turns into a bit of a bully on his own, and then something happens. He's like, no, I still need to care about everybody. That's why even though he's the most popular character in Marvel history, that's why he's not in the Avengers. He's not in Fantastic Four. He's not in X-Men, even though that kind of got pattered around for a bit. He stays your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He stays neighborhood. That's his whole arc, as it should be, because, again, I'm here to take care of my family. I'm here to take care of New York. I'm here to take care of my neighborhood. And Iron Man, corporate America, I can go around the world. I can take on threats to the universe. I can fly a rocket up and blow up stuff in the Avengers movie. That's his power set. It's not Spider-Man's. Which, if you make Spider-Man too powerful, okay, now what? One thing I do like about Spider-Man is that his power set still fits his enemies. He should not be taken on the Silver Surfer. He should not be taken on Thor. He should not be taken on Iron Man. He should not be taken on the Hulk. That's not what he should be doing. He should be fighting street thugs. He should be going after Kingpin. Daredevil's kind of on his level. Give me the street crime. Give me the nitty-gritty type stuff. So you're looking at two different power sets, two different heroes, two different reasons why they were created. And part of the problem that you run up to whenever you do this type of hero classification and you look at their power sets, well, how powerful are they? Well, they're as powerful as the writer wants them to be. It's unfortunately, it kind of goes into wrestling. Can this person beat this person? Who's better, Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan? Who's writing it? Who's scripting it? They can. I could go out and beat Lesnar in a wrestling match if Vince McMahon says so, and he writes a check and says, "Hey, Brock, you're going to lay down for this fat 45-year-old." Brock's going to be like, "Let me look at my check. Okay, I'll lay down for this guy." Hey, Hogan, you're going to submit to the Boston Crab. Okay, let me look at my check. That don't work for me, brother. Oh, there's another zero? Okay, that works for you, brother. And he's tapping. That's why Batman is Batman. That's why he can stand against Superman. It just depends on the power set, who's writing it, and how they script it. The problem is how do you write up that type of battle? So you have to look at it, and there's tons of YouTube videos. You got Death Battle and all that stuff. How do you write it? How do you make it where it actually fits? How do you make it where it's actually worth it? How do you make it compelling to the reader? And that's kind of the problem that you run into with a lot of this stuff. Is it worth it? Does it make sense? Does it make sense that I can beat Brock Lesnar? Poop, no. Does it make sense that Seth Rollins can? Maybe. Does it make sense that Ric Flair can beat Kerry Von Erich in Texas Stadium? Absolutely. Does it make sense the other way around? Absolutely. That's what makes it compelling. Kicking out of 15 finishers is not compelling storyline, in my opinion, which is part of the reason why I don't watch wrestling anymore. But anyway, moving on. But that is my thought whenever I look into Quora, whenever I look at who can beat who. Again, I came down the side of Iron Man for the basic reason is Iron Man can go basically a quarter mile away and shoot pulse bolts, repulsors, energy weapons, everything he can at Spider-Man from a quarter mile away. And yes, you've got the spider sense. Yes, he can throw a car at Iron Man. Yes, he can run at him, but how long does it take you to get a quarter mile? And I'm shooting stuff that is basically light speed at you. Eventually, I'm going to hit you. And even if you get close to me, I'm depending on, again, your Spider-Man power set and the Iron Man power set, I'm at least 3 times as strong as you are. I'm at least as fast as you are, considering I can go, with my boot jets, I can go Mach 1. You can't run that fast. So basically, I can keep going higher and higher and keep shooting at you, and eventually I'm going to hit you. I have a solar-powered suit, so I've got 12 hours to do that. Not to mention my battery packs, not to mention everything else I can do. Eventually, I'm going to hit you. Eventually, something's going to catch you. You can't dodge forever. Spider-Man is superhuman, but he does get tired. He does wear out a little bit. And if I'm shooting nothing but repulsor beams at you, and I'm just blanketing the area with rockets and small arms and everything else, and just nailing everything with repulsor runs, and all you're doing is jumping, jiving, dip, dodge, dialing, eventually a wrench is going to pop you. And then you're done, because all I got to do is, you're going to keep getting slower, you're going to keep getting tired, and I've basically got a robot in there doing targeting. And one thing about Iron Man's armor is it can detect what your next move is going to be. And eventually Spider-Man's going to guess wrong. Iron Man's been doing this a long, long time, as has Spider-Man. Everybody has patterns. And eventually it's like, okay, whenever he does this, his dodge pattern, okay, if he goes left, 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 then he goes right, now he's going to go left, left, then right, then I'm going to pop him. It's really hard to be completely 100% randomized because there's a certain number of ways the human body can go. Nobody go, you watch any MMA fight, George St. Pierre does get hit. Chuck Liddell does get taken down. Everybody gets hit with a shot once. Nobody gets 0 hits put on them. Nobody defends every takedown. Randy Couture can't ankle pick everybody. It's just the way it happens. So eventually Spider-Man does get hit, does get slowed down, and the slower he gets, the more power I put on him, more power Iron Man takes him out with. It's just, and again, it's 2 different mindsets. It's 2 different power classes. It's 2 different villain classes. It's not the way it's written. So I'm sorry, Spider-Man fans, there's no way he wins this thing unless you put him in a phone booth, and even then, good luck. Just the way it is. So that is my first video essay here that I'm going to put out for you. Next week, I am going to be talking more comics. It's going to be more Quora basic stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments, if you have any follow-ups you want to put in, any contentions, I will answer those next week. I do hope you enjoyed it. Please stop by the website, 7poundbag.com. Do make sure you like and subscribe. Again, any feedback you give it, I'd appreciate it. And I will talk to y'all on Friday with our first episode of the A-Side. We're going to talk MMA, NFL, and a few other things. But y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.